Dota 2 is a difficult game. Anyone saying otherwise is trying to sell you a bag of faulty flour or simply haven't ever had the enjoyment of playing the game on a deeper level where your wits, reaction and knowledge are truly tested. It's important for me to preface most of this by saying that Dota 2 isn't unlike a chair. We all have different tastes in one, but more than anything, most of us usually have very specific settings that others might find downright criminal. What's important though is that you as a player are comfortable with what you're using. So for this video, I wanted to bring about 5 control improvements that I'm sure to be able to give you a leg up against any would-be competition. That is assuming you're not already using these, of course, or they aren't to your liking. First up on our list is a rather tricky starter, but I guarantee you, it's worth it. For those of you that like to play heroes where you have to control more than one hero at a time, Valve relatively recently added the ability to change a specific setting by use of console within Dota 2. By typing Dota_selection_groups false, you change the way Dota selects groups by default. What this then does is that whenever you only have one character selected on, let's say 1, any subsequent tapping between units will go through all your currently available units except for the courier itself. The most commonly seen use for this addition is on none other than Broodmother. By utilizing this trick, you're very quickly able to dish out your spiralings just about everywhere and get uncontested vision. It's essentially Venomancer Plague Wards on steroids. That said, Broodmother is not the only hero that tremendously benefits from this. Any hero such as Lone Druid, Arc Warden, Chen, etc. stands to gain from this kind of control scheme if you learn to use it. Oh, and as an extra bonus, I personally use this whenever I play Phantom Lantern. I mean, come on, how is this not cool as hell to pull off in your pubs? For number 2, we're gonna go for a much more simple trick to improve your overall game plan. Many people quickly realize that one of the more efficient things you can do in Dota is to use keybinds to quickly level up your skills as you attain a new level. This is normally done by holding down Control and then pressing the button of the skill you want to increase, Q, W, E, R, and so forth. However, I yet still see plenty of people not do this for their talents. This can be tremendous waste and downright lose your games if not utilizing it. By default, if you press U, your talent window will pop up. This is already quite an improvement over manually clicking, but it gets even better, because you can then follow that by pressing either 1 for left or 2 for right talent. If you're playing a hero where you know exactly what talents you can go for and you acquire, say, level 20 right at the start of an important team fight, quickly leveling said talent can easily be an extra oomph needed to seal the deal for it. For number 3, we have a very light but interesting touch on control groups. Many people hear control groups and their minds usually deviate towards RTS games like StarCraft, or hey, if you really want to boomer it up properly, Command & Conquer. That said, control groups doesn't need to have the same 1-9 format that most RTS games tends to use as a standard. While it certainly works, I don't know about you, but I happen to personally have very small hands, and I certainly can't extend my fingers much further than 1 through 6 when I play on complete reflex. This is where I'm happy to announce that you can bind these control groups to anything, really. This matters greatly because it offers insane flexibility for comfort, and much like the chair analogy I used earlier, you really can adjust Dota 2 to much of your own preference. It's awesome. Here's an example of how I rebound my 9 and 0 control groups to mouse control up and down. I use this in very few cases, but I still find it extremely useful on its like for heroes. If I want to control my Manta illusions individually, it's through the mouse wheel for an example. And while I don't really play him a lot, as I was setting up how I could play Meepo, I used the same control scheme for him. 1 Meepo clone for mouse scroll up, and 1 for scroll down. You really can get creative with this, as long as it feels right to you. For number 4, I'd be more surprised if you hadn't heard this one, but I didn't feel like I could do a quick video on improving your controls for ranked without at the very least briefly mentioning it. Quickcast. Quickcast is amazing, and it's an absolute banger of a game changer once you get used to it. Trust me, going from old school RTS games where you have to click to confirm everything instead of having it confirmed at the click of a button can be really weird at first. However, once you get a proper control of it, you'll on average find yourself playing so much faster. There are certain heroes I couldn't possibly see myself ever playing, let alone enjoying if Quickcast wasn't even an option within the game in the first place. The only reason I'm personally able to control a hero such as Arc Warden is because of the fluidity that Quickcast gives you as a result of using it. While I know I earlier said that Dota 2 is something we adjust to fit the needs of our comfort, I really can't recommend Quickcast highly enough. It really makes such a massive difference to your gameplay once you integrate it as part of how you play the game. Before you know it, it becomes second nature. Last up, number 5, and this is a good one if I have to say so myself. Diving, chasing, and juking. If you know these words, you've come to the right place. It's something that tends to happen in pretty much every game of Dota 2 at one stage of the game or another. However, what if we could be a bit more calculated with our diving and subsequent chasing and use interesting controls to our advantage? Well, I'm happy to tell you there's a way to do that I don't see too many people utilizing. So when you're chasing someone through the trees in Dota 2, what often ends up happening is that you click ahead of the enemy you're trying to go after. What then can end up happening is that the game sees this as you being blocked from going to the destination, and the pathfinding will result in your hero trying to find a shorter way around that isn't blocked. This has the unfortunate side effects of making your hero turn around, which immediately turns an otherwise would-be chase from success to failure almost instantly. Fear not though, I have a solution for this one, and it's actually really simple. By using the option called attack move / force command as you're diving after someone within trees, you can use the assigned key, usually defaulted to A, to tell your hero to attack and force its way anywhere. What this means is that the hero won't try to have pathfinding find the shortest way any longer. It will simply force its way to where you've clicked, no matter what. Even better, since the attack is called attack move, this means that as soon as your hero comes in contact with someone, it will immediately attack the target. The downside of this can be that if you're doing this close to creeps, your hero can see that as its intended target, so use this trick with care. If you've ever seen a Monkey King that could reliably chase and predict wherever you were walking within a tree line, almost looking like he was cheating, I guarantee you this was how he was pulling it off. And that's it for this video. It's my hope that some of these neat tricks will grant you better odds in the MMR journey out there. Are there any tricks you know of that you think are really neat and powerful and I didn't mention in this video? I'd love to hear your suggestions. For now, if you want more, a new video is looking to drop every Saturday, and I do stream regularly on Twitch TV /FabQbashi. Now get to grinding and get that MMR, yeah?